Okay, so we're going to talk about fixing objects and easily be able to fix objects with augmented reality. So there is a problem that a lot of times we think that some objects require a certain level of expertise. And that's not really the case with everything. I think a lot of things is that it's because we're not very confident that we can fix things, which, yes, there are some things that people learn how to fix after years, decades of experience. And there are certain things that you learn on experience that you can't put down in a manual. But if you remember, the internet is a repository of all the world's information, right? You can pretty much go on YouTube and figure out how to do pretty much anything. You could find manuals or people going through fixing things right on YouTube. So there's a level that has made it easier, right? Before you would have a manual, or some things you still have to, you can Google them and you can find manuals from old appliances, but you have to know serial numbers, you have to know different things, you have to know how to get them, then you have to know how to read through them. Are they simple, are they not? You will be lucky if the model, the piece that you're looking for has a video on YouTube exactly how to fix that. But that's not always the case. And one thing that I also did notice that we talked about, like what I just mentioned a second ago, was with experience, you can't really put that into a manual. You can maybe put that into a YouTube video, but there's also some things that you don't put into a YouTube video because it might be something that when you walk into, for example, and this was a video that I did, part of the 2025 series, where I fixed a fridge, right? So the fridge, something was wrong. So normally the scenario could be, if your fridge gets broken in your house, what are you likely to do? Are you one of the few that go and search for the manual of that specific serial number and go online, find the manual, read it, and figure out how to go? Or are you one of those that go to YouTube and find out, again, that manual and see if there's a walkthrough? Now, if you've done one of those two things, you're a very small minority. Most people would just call a fridge repairman because they think that it calls for an expertise that is beyond them. Now, in some things I will agree. Some things are an expertise and you probably shouldn't touch them as they can get dangerous. But quite a lot of things we don't not fix them because we believe that it's an expertise way beyond us. Or we might think it's a bit of a hassle, but usually it's because we have a perception that this person has trained or done things for so many years and it's way beyond us. And what the idea here is to say that with augmented reality, we can walk you through step by step. Again, remember we talked about the maps in one of the other videos where in the olden days, when you use like a Melways or use the paper map, all the instructions were like in one thing and you kind of had to like memorize it and get it, and like you'd have to pull across to the side of the road and get your next step, right? It was a lot harder to follow, but nowadays with turn-by-turn directions, it makes it much easier because it breaks it up into bite-sized chunks. It just tells you what to do next, right? It is much easier than what we had previously. So here the same thing with augmented reality. You're not watching a video and then stopping and starting and pausing it and, okay, what did he say there, and looking through it. You can go step by step. This is what you need to do next. We can help you identify where it is because sometimes in a manual it's not easy to identify exactly where the problem is. So let me actually go away from the fridge because you can go watch that. It's in 2025 series. I can't remember what I titled it. But if I can link it somewhere here, I will try and link it. But it was fixing a fridge, and it was also going beyond just visuals. It was also using voice. It was using Siri. It was using natural instruction and natural conversation, which is, I don't know if I've done a video yet on natural conversation and why AI needs that to move beyond where it is now, because AI is still stuck, or at least the AI on our phones are still stuck in the instructional phase in this area. It's still very much something like we instructed to do something and it carries out that task. We haven't gotten to the area yet where AI is conversational. But anyways, I digress. So let's say we're trying to fix a TV. So again, a lot of us will go, I'm going to get an electronics guy. I don't know what's happening over here. Because if you had to go and find the instructions and manuals for TVs, you're usually going to end up in finding a bunch of diagrams. And if you're not an electrical engineer, and you don't understand how these things work, it's very, very intimidating. It's very confusing. You don't know what each thing does. You don't know if you poke it. You can short something out. You don't know really what you're doing. And again, yes, safety is very important. But sometimes it's incredibly simple, but it's that there's a tiny barrier of hesitation because maybe the manual is not clear enough, or there's not a video that specifically walks you through this model. I had a video that just like, I had a massive monitor that stopped working, and I did try fix it. I tried to find manuals. It was very hard to find this particular model, and try to find YouTube videos and try to work as much as I could. But there comes a point that there's that barrier, and there's that question of going, do I continue spending time on this, or do I find someone else? I don't have someone that's actually minutely going to tell me, well, like this board over here, am I doing the correct thing? Will I break it, or will I do worse things to it than if I just give it to someone else to deal with? So if we have augmented reality, right, we can point exactly to what you need to do for the next step. We can have the steps go step-by-step instructions. We show you also contextually exactly where to do it. So we're not just showing you an instruction on another paper, right? We're showing you if there is this screw that you need to unscrew, we're circling that screw, or we're showing you an image of that screwdriver over there, right? We're exactly where we need to go. When we get the board out, we can highlight exactly which part of the board you need to do things, what you need to do. And remember I said something about experience? So like the thing that I was thinking in the fridge was sometimes the hum of the motor. I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming that it could be that someone who's worked with fridges could probably walk up to a fridge and just listen to the hum of the motor and just tell you straight away what it is. Is that like genius? Is that something that like no one can do? No, it's years of experience of hearing different things. And there's no reason why we can't have a database of all these sounds that Siri can access, or the internet accesses, and through the instructions, part of the instructions is not just saying, oh, just start, unscrewing the back plate and start playing around. Part of the first thing could be, hold on a second, let me just listen and hear if I can hear maybe a high-pitched squeal, maybe the sound isn't right, maybe we tell you, plug it in. We could do some diagnostics with you, and because we can hear it, and then send it through a database and send it through a system which can analyze these different sounds, and we can probably come up with a diagnosis and say, you know what, based on this noise, we think this is your problem, or based on this noise, do so-and-so, or buy this part. And that's something that is, nowadays, that is something that's relegated to someone with experience, someone that has to spend years or decades honing this sound of hearing hundreds, if not thousands, of fridges or TVs, to be able to know, okay, this type of fridge, if it sounds like this, this is what I'm going to do. But we can reach that, right? We have database of information. We just need to connect them all together, right? So I think with augmented reality, with visuals, with haptics, with sound, with all these different repositories of information, we can come to a point where the average person could fix things that nowadays we send to, a specialized store that might take days and might take hundreds of dollars, or might take, too much time. Some just things that we can't give that time or that money to, and we just needed to have it fixed now. And it gives more power back to the person that actually owns the device, and allows them to say, listen, you own the device, we're going to help you repair it, and we'll walk you through how to do it. It doesn't require weeks or months of waiting for appointments and things like that. So yeah, that's the basic idea. I think you already start seeing them in things like View for a Chalk. You already have them. I think TeamViewer has like an AR version of having, even the idea of having an experienced person on the other end that doesn't come to you, but he can circle and put arrows or explain to you, where he can show you and guide you in how to do things over a video call, where you're wearing a pair of glasses. And so I've seen many concepts of showing like fixing under the kitchen sink, and the plumber's not going to come to you. Maybe it's COVID, or maybe it's they just have too many clients, and over a video call they can actually say, see that little area, tighten it a little bit, or change this, or that gasket needs to be changed, or I don't even know if I'm using the right terminology, but basically they have that concept of experts guiding you, and I'm saying that's a great thing, and you're going to see that more and more in fixing cars and fixing sinks, just fixing anything in general. But that next step will be you being able to do it pretty much as simple as setting up an IKEA set of furniture. You'll be able to diagnose and fix anything that up until now you thought could only be done by someone experienced. You've got a wealth of knowledge in the internet. You've got huge amounts of all this information lying somewhere. I think augmented reality and all these different areas can untap that. That's all I have for you for today. It's kind of a quick one or not, and I'll see you guys in the future.